Dear Monica, I was gonna make a video for friends and family to the judge and the state attorney. I was going to commit suicide. Um, yeah, I just feel like I lost everything. Like I lost um what made me so happy was the MSHRM program because but believe it or not, that was like the only interaction I've had with people. So when I got suspended from the university, that was like a deep loss to me. And also, the only thing that I was ever good at, or the only thing that ever mattered to me in my life was school. And I always wanted to accomplish something with my education. So I always wanted to get a master's. And then, I was suspended. I couldn't see the people that made me happy in school. I I couldn't do my master's. That I to me that was like school was like my life. Losing that just put me on survival mode. Um, yeah, it put me on survival mode. I could only see one thing in front of me. I couldn't see anything around me because I'm on survival mode. It's what they call tunnel vision. Um, so I felt like I couldn't get my master's. And then when I sent that testimony to the judge, and then it was forwarded to you, I imagine you read it. Well, the judge didn't think too kindly of it because he went straight to the state attorney and they immediately pressed charges. So I think my lawyer said that he got it to uh, the lowest misdemeanor, I think is what he said, without arresting me. But I got charged for a misdemeanor, and then that means that I have an arrest record also, even though I wasn't physically arrested. Technically, I have a charge and an arrest, and then I don't have my master's, and I felt like everything is ruined because I'm at the very end where I need to be to succeed in life. This is like I'm at like the last stage where I can get everything together. Monica, you're young. Uh, you can wait a while, um, to do a master's, to finish your master's, to build a career. Um, that takes time, and I don't have that much time. So I just thought everything was over because I just wanted my career. Um, I wanted to start a family, have kids, and I don't have a whole lot of time. You know what I mean? I'm not, you know, 18 years old. I don't have my whole life ahead of me. I do have my whole life ahead of me. I mean, I'm extremely young, uh, but I'm young where I need to get everything started right now. So I just felt like I lost everything, and I was afraid I couldn't get the luxury apartments that I wanted to. Uh, because they look at your criminal history and then how that's going to affect me in employment. I just felt like I lost everything. And I just want to apologize to you because I was reading through a lot of the messages that I've been sending you electronically, and it's kind of crazy. It's kind of crazy. I'm so sorry, Monica. I just couldn't understand what was happening around me. I just lost everything. I was on survival mode. I couldn't think clearly. Our brain is made up of two parts. I know you studied psychology. We have our ancient brain, which is the go brain, and then we have our cerebral cortex, which is a stop brain, particularly the frontal cortex, which is responsible for logic, reasoning, critical thinking. Um, Normally, the ancient brain or the stop brain needs to ask permission to the go brain or the frontal cortex to do something. So the stop brain asks permission to the go brain, hey, can I do this? And then the go brain says yes or no. But when we're on survival mode, that communication is cut off. So the go brain doesn't ask for permission. It just does what it wants to do. So um, we do a lot of involuntary things, without giving much thought. So uh, I'm just not reasoning or thinking straight because I'm just so caught up in the moment, and I'm writing this crazy stuff because it's actually my stop brain. I mean, my go brain that's communicating, my ancient brain. So it's unregulated. So it's just sharing the very core. Because our ancient brain, that's where our emotion starts. That's where the first form of consciousness is our emotion. So our emotion is consciousness. And yeah, that's where all the emotions is. That's the part that's responsible for survival. I remember one of the PTSD therapists that I knew. She would say that the ancient part of our brain, um, for you can also call it the midbrain or the stem brain. Um, it's just concerned about survival. But this therapist, she would say that it would be responsible for three things: eat, fuck, kill. Um, so it's just concerned with survival. So, and that's where all our emotions are. So it's just trying to survive. And I know this sounds kind of scary, but uh, it can be not in my situation. Because I'm just talking about tunnel vision, getting caught up in our thoughts where we're not aware what's going on around us. So we kind of sound kind of crazy when we're not. And I guess it has to do with, not guess, I know it has to do with just uh trauma that I've had. When I say trauma, I just mean negative experiences where our mind needs to think that it needs to avoid that. Otherwise, it thinks that we're going to die. So it's just trying to survive. So um, that's what it interprets I don't know. I hope I'm making sense. I was trying to make a short video, but it's just so much I've been going through, and I've been really depressed, and I was actually going to commit suicide. I've been blowing money like crazy. And then a miracle happened. I don't know. I got like these two divination coins, right? Um, it says yes and then no on the back. It says no. Got one in silver, one in bronze. Same thing with the bronze. It says yes and then no on the back. So um they're divination coins. So what I did is I prayed to God, and um and and I flipped both of these coins. So I said, if you're going to grant my prayer, then make it a yes, yes. And I made this prayer before because it was an impossible prayer, like something I can't imagine uh ever coming true. Like this prayer, I can't imagine it being true. It's yeah, it's trying to remember that scripture from Ephesians 3:20, which says, to him who can do immeasurably more than all we can ask or imagine. And that is so immeasurably more that I cannot imagine it. Um, yeah. So I said the prayer, I flipped a coin and it said, yes, yes. So I'm like, you know what? I can't go on. I just want to die. I felt like my life was over to get a job. And I'm like, I mean, what woman would be interested in a man with uh, a record who can't get a good job? I'm worried I might not be able to finish my master's. Um, so I went ahead and said the same prayer again. And I said, you know what? I really want to kill myself. If this is true, God, then let me get two more yeses. And I flip the coins again. I flip it, and guess what? It's a yes and a yes again. So I'm like, holy crap. I asked God the first time if he would, you know, give me two yeses. So the odds of getting two yeses is 1 in 4. So I have a 25% chance of getting two yeses. So I'm like, that's kind of rare. So I said the prayer again. So two yeses again. So the probability of that now is 1 in 8, which is I can't do math in my head. I'm pretty good at understanding math, but when it comes to doing calculations, yeah, I can't do that. But 1 in 8, that means it's 12.5% chance for me to beat the odds. And it was a yes, yes again. So I'm like, what the heck? I'm like, I really want to kill myself. So I'm like, you know what? You know what? Let me get two more yeses. So I pray to God and I say, and I ask God, God, tell me yes, not to kill myself. If you don't want me to not kill myself, then tell me yes, not to kill myself. And I flip the coin. It's a yes. And I flip it again. It's another yes. I'm like, 6 consecutive yeses. That's now um what is it? 1 in 16 now, I believe. Yeah, 1 in 16. So let me see. It's yeah, I don't know, but it's crazy. Um, but yeah, so then I grab the coins again, right? And I flip them again. I flip it and I flip it and I get two more yeses. So I flipped these coins 4 times in a row and I got all yeses. And the probability of that happening is 1.6%. So it's impossible. We're talking about, it's crazy. It's like almost 100%. I mean, it's not 100%, but dang, I'm like, I really wanted to kill myself, so I'm not killing myself now. And I'm gonna make this video anyway, in case I do decide to go through it later. So I'm gonna have faith in my prayer to God, considering the odds of getting yeses like 8 times in a row. Yeses 8 times in a row. That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy. Um, so I'm gonna wait to see what happens to see if there's hope. Um, but yeah, and so sorry for sounding crazy, Monica, and all those messages. I was just on survival mode. I mean, I lost, you know, the only thing that really matters to me, and that's school. And I was finally able to get a master's for the first time, and then I don't really interact with that many people, so going to class on Saturdays, that was like my happiest moments. I would be around people, I would socialize. And losing that just broke me when I got suspended. Um, and then for so long I've been trying to have lunch with you. Uh I guess at the bottom of it, I just really just wanted to hang out with you. You know, yeah, because I liked you. You were pretty, so um, even if nothing was gonna happen, I don't know. For so long, I've tried to have lunch with you, and on the first day of our last semester in the master's program, um, everyone was able to select the groups that they wanted to be in, through Canvas on their laptops, but I didn't have access to do that. So um, I just also wanted to spend time or have lunch with some of the other, pretty females. I mean, it's just kind of cool to um I mean, we all want to socialize and be around attractive people. It's just our biology, our psychology. Biology is based on phenotypes. So because we want to pass on the best genes. So kind of weird how all that works. But anyway, um, I lost that opportunity. So um, yeah, it kind of affected me for a little while. And then that same day, right after lunch, I mean, I wasn't in your group and I thought that I might have, joined your group. Um, I wanted to. I was so nervous, but I mean, I couldn't even select it if I wanted to. I never selected it. Um, I did towards the end because I couldn't pick any of the groups. So, um, I wonder if I would have been in your group if I could have picked it. And um, because if I was because I wasn't in your group, but um Chapman was in your group and then you guys went to lunch together and I saw you guys hang out and I don't know, I just kind of wanted to hang out too. So that kind of broke me because for so long I wanted to have lunch with you and yeah, that just it really I don't know, it really broke me. I mean, a whole year, and you know, and then uh I guess I was trying to have lunch with you like those other two next Saturdays, but they canceled class and I don't know. I'm like, man, I missed that opportunity and then it was just such a long time for me to ask. And then I sent you um the message, telling you that if I fall short to have lunch with you, then to please let my wings up. um uh for the next day in class. And then I remember you were really happy when I showed attention to you again after sending you that letter. Um uh After I sent you that letter. Yeah, it was, it was, you had a really good, you were really happy. I made you feel really good. If you think about it, look at everything we've done in person. Um, I mean, I'm talking about when we interact. I mean, it was always positive. You would always smile, laugh. Uh, um, just know that all the bad stuff is because of um, electronic communication. Uh, and that's really dangerous because um, it's dangerous because we um we don't communicate the way we should. Um and what I mean by that is that our message gets confused because really we're not communicating. It's just one person talking. So it's just one person talking to the wall. So there's no feedback. Um Also there's no physical connection. And without that physical connection, we cannot have that social connection. So, we see that it's another person, when it's not electronically, we see that there's another person there. We're more aware of their humanity. We're more aware of their reactions, their social cues, their feelings. Um, Whereas when we communicate electronically, we don't see each other. There's no social cues. We can get easily caught up in our own thinking, and if it's like a survival instinct, where we cut off communication with our cerebral cortex, our thinking part of the brain. Remember, our ancient brain or the midbrain needs to ask permission to our cerebral cortex whether it can do something or not. The ancient brain is just survival, which is, like I told you, like my therapist said, it would be eat, fuck, kill. But it can't just do that. It would have to ask permission for a frontal cortex to do that. Um, but if there's like trauma where our brain thinks that our life is in danger, we need to do this to live or survive. Um, it can cut off that communication. So if it cuts off that communication and we're communicating under this this stress, I'm not going to call it trauma, I'm going to call it stress because that's what it is. It's stress. And then if I'm writing, well, I'm that stressed, it's just my ancient part of the brain communicating, and it's involuntary, it's not regulated. I'm not making sense of what's happening, and it sounds crazy, frightening, but it's not, because that's our inner self. Um, it's who we are, it's our repressed nature because we're constantly repressing it because we're constantly saying no to our midbrain or stem brain. We're constantly saying no, so it's everything that we repress. It's just something, since we repress it, it's not something we really communicate with others. So communicating that just really scared you. And when I wrote you those messages, that I wanted to have lunch with you, and then I asked you, um, uh, you were really happy. Um, you would always tell me the same thing. And the way you would say it, you were like, "Oh, I have a boyfriend." And every time I heard those words, it would cut deep. And when you said it that time, I guess it just crushed me that someone else was able to have lunch with you, and I've been trying to have lunch with you for throughout the program, and I don't know, it broke my spirit, and I think, to quote another student, I was just describing like one of our scenes, and I don't know if that was the case, but she said that we were falling in love. I don't know um if that's what was happening. It with me, I wanted to take a moment and talk about men and our biology. Um Men are the protectors. Um they hunt, they go to wars, they bring the food. Um we're very protective of women. Men are very protective of women. Um and yeah, what am I trying to say with this? Not sure how this ties in to what I'm trying to say, but what I'm trying to say is that biologically men fall in love based on looks alone. Um, Men, as a matter of fact, men fall in love instantly with women. Like they'll instantly fall in love. Like um if they look at you and they find you extremely attractive, they can instantly fall in love with you. Uh, so what we learn, as we get older is uh, to not fall in love because it hurts, when you get your heart broken or when you get rejected or when there's a breakup or whatever. It hurts really bad. So we learn to hold off on falling in love and we wait, or we try to make sure she falls in love first, and then the guy will fall in love. Um Typically that's what men realize, if they're smart enough to figure it out. But and Yeah, and I guess it has to do with trying to figure out what that has to do with men wanting to be protectors or protect people. Uh, but on that note, I guess what I'm trying to say is that I believe we were falling in love, and um, towards the very end of the program, I kind of gave in. I gave in when um, I remember on a Saturday, I was like staring at you. Like I was like staring and staring and staring and staring, waiting for you to like look back at me. And then after looking at you for a while in your eyes, and you kind of uh I love how playful you get. And then when you look back at that moment, I look away, and then I remember your face turning like really red, and I don't know if your eyes were watery, but I know that the following week, um, uh, you did the same thing. You were like staring down at my eyes, and I look back, and um, I'm just so nervous. I'm really nervous, and I'm just looking at you, and I'm just so freaking nervous, and we're just staring into each other's eyes for a while, and and um and then I get really nervous, and then I'm like, okay, this is going on for a little while, so I look away. Uh at that moment, I think that's where I just kind of stop resisting, and um biologically, uh I was falling in love with you. um you are the farthest that I've ever come along to feel that way. Um, and it was just killing me to know whether uh, you were interested or not, and um, whether you were interested or not. And then with me, I guess I think I've developed um, uh, trying to find the right word. I developed uh technically what it is, it's a neural pathway, you know um uh and it happens a lot. Like a lot of men commit suicide because they fall in love with a girl, and she doesn't love him. And a lot of people commit suicide because of that. You'd be surprised. It happens a lot. It happens a lot all over the world. And that's because men instantly fall in love. And like I said, it's all based on looks. Where women, it's the experience from beginning to end, and they take a while to fall in love. For them, it's just the whole experience. Um, the way everything happened. From beginning to end, every little thing. From the first moment that they met. Um, so yeah, so uh, I'm trying to remember where I was going with this, but yeah, I just remembered. Uh, you were I think you're actually well, before I get there, like what I was talking about, men killing themselves, and the neural pathway, uh because I remember, someone saying in our program that when we fall in love, like our whole brain chemistry changes. Uh, but really, we create a neural pathway to the most ancient part of our brain because that's where our emotions are, which is either the greatest happiness or the worst feeling ever, like complete pain, misery, sadness, fear, dread, hate. Yeah, it's like the core of love and hate. And that's where our pleasure is. So um when uh when we fall in love, we create like a deep neural pathway, um neural pathways plural, um between that pleasure in our stem brain, but uh in reality it's just an addiction, probably the most deadly addiction, but second I would say sugar is the second deadly addiction, uh since it causes high cholesterol and diabetes and stroke and you know all the other health problems that we have. But processed sugar, yeah, it's just a little bit more addictive than cocaine. But yeah, it's basically love is an addiction, and you connect to that ancient part of your brain. Remember, that's eat, fuck, kill, eat, fuck, kill. So uh kill or be killed, and and there's something genetically about that. I think my theory is that if, for example, a guy falls in love with a woman because she has the right phenotypes, the right looks for a superior uh species or continuation of the species, or superior offspring. Um, so you have a bunch of guys that fall in love with a girl. So the girl will pick the strongest man, you know. The prettiest girl will pick the strongest man so that they can, you know, so that we would be making stronger species on Earth. And I guess the other men that fell in love and weren't picked, then they probably don't have the right genes or the right stuff or to be worthy of, of passing on their genetic material. They're not worthy. So then they're wrong. They're wrong because they're not being selected to continue on. So they're useless, worthless in that sense, purposely from a biological standpoint. They have no reason to live. So in that sense, the guy would kill himself because the whole purpose of him living is for him to be able to pass on his genetic material. And if he can't pass on his genetic material, then he has no reason to live. So um from that purpose, you might as well die. Uh but yeah, but there's not just one girl, there's women all over the place. So um, you can always find someone, right? Uh but the reason I'm sharing this is because you were the first woman that I've ever gotten this far with, and I fell in love with you, and I fell in love also um with the student in the program too, from the previous cohort. Um and I've had so much trauma. Well, trauma is the wrong word. I guess what I meant to say is like a stress, because it's not trauma. Trauma just sounds really, really bad. I'm just talking about stress. So when I say trauma, I'm not talking about trauma. I'm talking about stress because uh that's what it is. I mean, trauma is just you got to be really messed up in the head, and thank God I'm not. So I haven't really had trauma. What I've had is a very stressful life. Um, but luckily, I know when to turn it off. Um, for for most of my life. Um, but I've had a lot of stress from being rejected so many times. Uh, and I wouldn't even say not really rejection, but more like uh not how would I say it? The disappointment from for me is from not getting my first girlfriend. I know a lot of it has to do, um, since it's gonna be my first girlfriend, I can be very high standard or picky, I guess, because it's gonna be my first one. And I notice that I get very selective, and that kind of blinds me because um the one that are interested in me, I'm not interested in them, I'm interested in someone else. But then I realized, oh my gosh, I really am interested in them. But by that time, um, I lost my opportunity. And that's happened a lot. And another thing is, I don't understand social cues. I've missed so many social cues. Like, where where women were asking me, indirectly, of course, but um, we uh you know, heat of the night, passion. I missed all of those cues, and I realized that later on down the road, or when I talk to people or a family member, and they were telling me, "Oh, she was saying that she wanted to hook up right now," and I was like, Oh, I didn't know that. But yeah. Uh Anyways, just all those setbacks, it just creates that stress, and I guess it has to do with that survival that I said about, like uh life or death, because we need a, it's eat, fuck, kill. And fuck is so that we can um share our genetic material if it's worthy enough. Um and where was I going with this? Uh I was at a bar, so I'm kind of like, uh um yeah, and it's kind of late, but yeah. Trying to remember where I was trying to go with this, but yeah, I'm just trying to share how that's linked with that survival part, which is eat, fuck, kill, and that's also the part that's responsible for wanting to commit suicide or kill ourselves because we failed at our purpose, so then there's no reason for us to live, because our whole purpose to live is eat so we can sustain ourselves, right? Kill so we stay alive, and fuck so that we can um expand ourselves, and if we can't expand ourselves, then we're sad because we can't fulfill our purpose. um and then there's depression and suicide, and there was something else about suicide and depression I'm trying to remember that I just thought of right now, but um uh yes, I remember now. Now I'm trying to think of the actual word. It's what's the biological term that I'm trying to think of? It's apoptosis. Now I remember. Apoptosis. Okay. So I'm going to share a little philosophy of mine. Uh Apoptosis is when a cell, which is the smallest unit of life that we know of, or well, not that we know of, but that we can I don't know. I have a different definition for life, so uh but that wouldn't be biology. Anyway, uh the cell will apoptosis, there we go. It will decide to kill itself. Um and the reason it does that is because the cell sees something that it's not for its purpose. It's not meant, it sees that there's something wrong with it where it's not able to do its purpose or its function. Like our, like our purpose is, the women like me, hopefully I can fuck them, pass on my genetic material to as many as I can, and spread my genes and be happy. If I can't do that, then I don't have the right stuff. um I can't fulfill my purpose. I might as well kill myself. That's kind of like what the cell does. I guess what I'm trying to say is that uh we're robots. We're robots because we are programmed, and we're programmed through our genes. You know, um, we all have different genes, so we can have different type of characteristics. I remember Dr. Weinstein teaching about the risk factor gene, where those people either end up in Wall Street or in jail. I'm kind of thinking I might have that gene. But I think it's leaning more to the jail part than the Wall Street part. But um, you know, uh, which is why I was struggling with suicide, and I really wanted to do it. Had I not gotten 8 yeses consecutively in a row, um, asking God, will you grant a prayer that I don't see it ever happening? I can't even imagine it. Uh, you know, or imagine asking God to do it because I just don't see it happening. And that's what Ephesians 3:20 says. To him who can do immeasurably more than all we ask and imagine, to him be glory. And that's my paraphrase from it, but pretty much it reads like that. The NIV reads it more like that. But that's what that prayer was. And I asked God, let me get 2 yeses, and I flip the coins, so these are divination coins. So I pray, I ask them, no. I can get it on the camera. Yeah, no, and then yes. You can see the yes. If I tilt it right, if I get the right lighting, yeah, you can see the yes. But yeah. So I pray the first time, God. Because I said the prayer before. Will you grant this impossible prayer? And I flipped one coin, I flipped the second coin, and it was yes and yes. So I did the same thing today, and it was yes and yes. But I just really wanted to go through, killing myself. And I was doubting this. So I'm like, okay, God, uh, I'm going to ask you again. I'm going to pray and ask you again. Give me 2 more yeses. And guess what? He gives me 2 more freaking yeses, man. That's like, I'm like, that's, yeah, that's 1 in 16. That's like the odds of me getting 4 yeses is 6.25%. Those are my odds out of 100. So yeah, it's not that likely. So um I still have my doubts. I still just really want to kill myself. Um just want to end. Just wanted to end. Yeah, I'm like, I have a criminal record, and I've had a hard time in life knowing what to do with my life. With a career, a job. I got lucky to get a pension from the army. And I thought I really figured it out in getting my master's. And I took out school loans thinking that, hey, I'll have a master's, so I'll be able to work and have my pension, so I'll be making bank. And I got expelled. I got expelled, and not expelled. I didn't get expelled. I got suspended. I was afraid of being expelled and not being able to do my master's, and then I'm at a point in life where I can't be messing up. I can't be having issues with not getting my master's, issues with not being able to work, because I need to start my career now, while I'm still young, because I don't have that much time now. I mean, I'm still young. I still have a long life ahead of me. Uh, but I'm at a point where I can't be playing around. I need to get the ball rolling. You know what I mean? Um, so I don't have time to waste, you know, uh, to earning my master's, being suspended, uh, and then having a criminal record. Will I be able to work in HR? Am I going to be able to do my master's now? Will FIU allow me to do my master's with this criminal charge? Um, and arrest record, by the way, even though I wasn't physically arrested, technically I was. Once you're charged, it's an arrest. Um, and yeah, and man, men are really, man, yeah, that judge really screwed me over. But I feel like, hey, I don't have too much time to, get married, have kids, have the job, have my career, have my master's. You're so lucky to have a master's, you earned your master's at 22 and you were able to, I don't know what that noise was, but you have a job, as a recruiter in the field. And, you know, um, and I need to start doing that now. Uh, because my biological clock is kicking. For me to enjoy all the years that I have left, with my vibrant youth. I really wanted to commit suicide because of that, and I was feeling so depressed and sad. Uh, and it makes sense because of apoptosis. If we can't fulfill our purpose, which is to fuck, to uh, spread ourselves, then it's apoptosis because we're not able to do what we're programmed to do. So if a cell can't do what it's programmed to do, it sees that it has some kind of defect, it's programmed to kill itself. So uh um that yeah, that's how we're programmed, cells are programmed to do that, and everything within us is programmed to do that. And what makes up that program are the molecules, the chemicals, the protons, the bosons, the Higgs, uh, quarks, leptons, physics, all that other stuff. I believe that everything that makes up reality, um, has that purpose, um, has a purpose for, in our case, morality. Um, uh, yeah, it has a purpose, morality, create life, love. That's just part of morality. Um, you know, everything dies so that we can live. Um, but yeah, I'm just so sorry. It's just all the stresses um, with getting a girlfriend. I just didn't know those triggers were there. I didn't know they existed. And I found them out through Christina and you. And uh, that's when I knew I had that trigger. And what had happened is that after being in a church where um, you really wouldn't date much. You had to be really spiritual. You could only date people within the church. Uh, and then just being in special education all throughout elementary, middle school, all the way till the very end of high school. Not socializing much in school, not really having that much social skills. Uh, just made it really difficult for me, to know about relationships and getting my first girlfriend. But um, yeah, it's just at one point, I kind of started to believe that marriage, kids, the dog, all that is overrated. And that's what a sergeant major told me from the army. He says it's all overrated. But yeah, I think I remember him telling it. I think he told me that the dog gets more credit than he does. But I started to believe that, and it got to a point where I gave up on believing in marriage and love, or not so much love, but marriage relationship. I mean, I guess something real and promising. And um I think I got complacent, like I stopped looking for friendships or relationships, and I wasn't pursuing anyone or anything. I just kept to myself. I was happy with my hobbies. Uh Also, I didn't know what a relationship was like the feelings, the pleasure, the joy, the happiness, the excitement, the thrill. I didn't know how any of that felt. So it was very easy for me not to be consumed with uh, being in a relationship, having a girlfriend. Uh, yeah. So where am I going with this? I guess what I'm saying is that when I started the master's program with you, I learned uh, to always make eye connection with people. That's what this female that I know, uh, things just get so complicated with the opposite sex. She ended up falling in love with me. I wasn't interested in her, and she had like kids and a husband, and and she was the owner of a cigar shop that I would go to, and I don't know, things got so complicated that I had to stop going there. But um, the bad thing about that is that the regulars that go there, we were like family. People from all ages, all backgrounds, all experiences, different jobs, careers, knowledge, and uh, they were there. Uh, there were people that I can talk to. They can help me when I'm going through a good time, a bad time, when I need help, advice. Um, but I had to stop going there because complications. Things get complicated. Between opposite sex, it's crazy. But when I stopped going there, um, I didn't have the support that I needed. Uh, uh, to get advice, uh, about the classroom. I think that would have helped a lot. I lost that support. So I ended up writing you that depressing note. I just felt suicidal, for like what I was sharing with before earlier. I was saying, yeah, that when we can't fulfill our purpose, we want to do apoptosis. And and I felt that way. I just felt crushed. Um, and I was on survival mode. Um, because when you feel like apoptosis, remember that's survival mode. So um the communication with your frontal cortex is cut off. So um I'm not saying that person's crazy or dangerous or no. It's just um they're not rationalizing, you know what I mean? Yeah. Um what they're doing or saying, it just sounds kind of crazy. And that message I sent you was crazy. The one leading to the no contact. And then I realized after that survival mode went away, I was like, oh my gosh, what the heck did I do? And I tried to fix it with another email. Um, that same day I tried, but and then I was afraid of getting contacted by FIU because I've also had my own stress getting contact by FIU. Um, specifically the dean of students. Uh, yeah, I mean, it's just when I thought they were contacting me, it also created a stress or a trigger. Um, and I remember where I'm going with this, but I forgot what I was saying, but I do remember something. No, I forgot it. I'm sure it's trying not to bore you, but yeah, I wanted to talk about yeah, I mean, it's really a lot I wanted to talk about and share, but oh man, what a mess. What a mess. This just went out of hand. Yeah, it's just when I thought FIU was calling, I uh I I again went into that survival mode and instantly messaged you and I know I was sounding crazy because it's our midbrain communicating, and that's where the core of our emotions are, like our deep thoughts and feelings, and that's what we're communicating and just made things worse. And it's these triggers or stresses, and yeah. Um and then losing everything, like just I'm telling you how important it is for me to finish my master's quick and start a family quick, and uh and then I lost everything. I lost the people that made me happy on the weekends, and all that continue to put me on survival instinct and tunnel vision, and where you can't see anything else around you, and um I was riding that dragon for a while, and FIU needed to counsel me, and they did not. And this was so important for them to do because I couldn't see, I couldn't know, I couldn't understand what I was doing. Um, I didn't know how that affected you. Um, uh, what that did or how you felt. Um, uh, what was wrong with what I did, what I should have done, what I should not have done, just some counseling so that I could understand. Um, had that happened, I could have been aware of what's going on, and then I could have taught uh, my ancient brain or the reptilian brain or the midbrain or the stem brain or whatever you want to call it. You can train it, and then, you know, uh, it'll know, you know, what is the correct thing to do to survive and what is the incorrect thing to survive. And obviously, I was doing the incorrect things to survive because uh, what I continued to do had a negative effect on you. Um, but yeah, I know what I wrote. It's so crazy that maybe it warrants a no contact. It wasn't necessary. It was an overkill. Um, because uh, I already knew I couldn't talk to you. Uh, um, or not, I wouldn't say that I couldn't communicate with you. I would say that I had done some damage, and what I needed to do is, or what we needed was to see each other in class. Until this day, I haven't seen you. Um, and I needed to see you in class because that's how we really know how the other person feels because I can see you. I can see how you feel, uh, how it affects you. Um, I can pick up uh, on your social cues. I can pick up on your humanity. Um, and had I been able to see you in class, there would be no miscommunication because now that I think about it, um, the reason there's so much miscommunication, that is me not understanding, understanding you or what was going on or how you feel, and also you not understanding um, my actions, which when I write very forceful and in a strong tone. And I do that across the board with everything and everyone. And if it's my survival instinct, I think it comes off a little bit stronger too. So uh, yeah, yeah, technology is just really bad way to communicate. And yeah, um, and then I wanted to talk about another thing about our biology, and and I kind of saw you as obviously as someone who uh okay, so it's gonna sound uh I'll let you come up with that word, but you are worthy of spreading your genes. And because of that, remember, men instantly fall in love with women. Men are natural protectors of women. So when there's a woman worthy to spread their genes, um, uh, that person needs to be protected. Um, so men naturally stick around women, and what I mean by that is, have you ever seen Game of Thrones? I wanted to talk about Daenerys Targaryen. Targaryen, yeah. Daenerys Targaryen and George Mormont. That was the guy who pled his loyalty and allegiance to her, uh, who had a claim to the Iron Throne. So, he vowed to protect her, kind of like a knight who vows to protect the queen. They vow to never take up children or families of their own, and to swear complete, utter allegiance to their queen, as a protector, you know. Um, they protect her through everything. Uh, George Mormont was everything to Daenerys. He helped her through her marriages, through adapting, through her reign, through spreading her reign, her kingdom. Yeah, and that's kind of how I felt about you. And and although I know things didn't work out with us, even though the likelihood of it happening, uh, it's probably that it's not gonna happen. But whenever we like someone or instantly fall in love with someone, we will always love them in our hearts. So um, we'll always hold on to them. We'll always keep that possibility in case something does work out. Um, but while we're doing that, we're also um, searching for other women, uh, uh, other deep, special relationships, other people, but in while we're doing that, we just hold on in the meantime, uh, and that's what I was doing. That's what I've always done. Um, uh, it's never gotten me in trouble, and it shouldn't have gotten me in trouble, um, like it did now. But it's just the reason it got me in trouble is because of the nature of the master's program. The way it's designed, it's so unnatural. So unnatural that, geez, you know, with something similar happened with Christina in the program. I um I when I texted her, uh I noticed she didn't text me immediately, and and it created a trigger where, oh, she rejected me. And I kind of did something in despair also, that we agreed not to um we agreed not to talk to each other regarding any personal interests. So after I messed it up, and we came into that agreement, and I honored it. We had no problems. And it would have been the same thing with us. Um, what really did me in was the no contact, and and before I knew it was in place, I know I also sent you like one or two more messages, but that was because I was afraid uh, of the school's reaction based on you know uh, the suicidal message I sent you. And uh and that only happened, when FIU initially contacted me, or I thought they were contacting me, and then I went and sent you that message. But uh right after that, the storm would have calmed down, and then um I would have seen you in class, and that uh would have definitely given me the signal to not talk or communicate with you, because we're social creatures. We're meant to interact in person. um yeah, that's what made things so hard. I mean, who gets a restraining order uh without ever witnessing how the person feels in person? I never did that with you, Monica. There's no communication. That's the most important way to communicate, is through physical presence. But there's so much regarding this issue that I can talk about. How, oh, it's just so many things went wrong, and I'm not gonna make this video any longer. And I mean, I can go on and on. It's just to keep it short. No one communicated with me with what was going on. I didn't understand what was going on. I wasn't counseled. And I needed someone to tell me, to open my eyes so that I can see and understand. Um, I would have seen it and understood it if I was able to see you in class in person, but I was suspended because I need that physical presence. we're social creatures. That's how we communicate. We're not meant to communicate, you know, through email, where it's only me talking. And I don't know how you'll react, or, because when we talk, halfway through a sentence, we know if we need to adjust or say something else, or we can see how the person feels about something and we can cater it, according to their needs or purpose or whatever. But yeah, I mean, there was just so much confusion. I just needed to know, were you interested? Yeah, and then when I asked you that, you let me back into your YouTube. I was able to comment on your YouTube again. You let me do that. So I thought that the answer was yes. And then it was no, so that delayed the process a little bit. And then when I found out you weren't interested, I was just on survival mode because I was so scared about losing everything with school, and I need to start my life, and all this came crashing down, and I was just crying. I was trying to get your help, and being on survival mode, remember, it's very intense. So, and naturally, I write very forceful and with a heavy tone. And if I'm on survival mode, it just, my messages just came out wrong. But and then I wanted to, I felt like we needed closure because things were just so negative and bad, and I wanted to provide some kind of closure, where we know that the two of us are okay, or that we're sorry, or that we're able to understand or forgive each other. Uh, well, really, I needed to understand, and not make things worse. But FIU could have done a lot to prevent all of this. I even tried getting information, tried to understand. Uh, I wanted them to help me understand, and I was ignored, and I don't know, but I'm not stalking you. I never stalked you. Uh, I was trying to exhaust all channels first. Um, but yeah, uh, yeah. And by closure, I mean, like, just saying goodbye. But and the reason I wanted to do that is because it's healthy. Um, you know, and it's what I've learned about relationships, and it was just the right thing to do, and that's why I was trying to pursue that. It's not because um of some kind of crazy desperate guy that needs you or that must have you. It was nothing like that. Uh I had fallen in love with you, and I just needed time to go through the process. Everything has a start and finish. but it's a process, it's not like, I mean, a light doesn't just switch on or off, there's a long process before the light goes on, off, or from off to on, like all the steps taken for someone to make the decision to walk up to the light switch, um, use your motor skills, to flick the light switch. And then the signal needs to travel, from the light switch through the wiring, then needs to hit the light. Then, anyway, you get my point. Everything has a process, but yeah. Um, the judge and the state attorney almost killed me today. Should have been dead right now. And I would have been sending a different video. But if I do, I'm gonna hold off on killing myself. But if I do decide on doing this, then I might just do the same video. Screw it. Okay.